I'm sure pastors will be interested in this one also, because it's a very nice book. Tithing. Many of our church members don't pay tithe. Yeah. And we are also afraid to say it. Now, if you don't pay tithe, you're a thief. And many of our church leaders don't pay tithe. If you have any church leader who doesn't pay tithe, you should fire him. Remove him from being a leader. Why do I say that? The Bible says that where your treasure is, that's where your heart will be also. So if you have a leader who moves with you, who you actually trust, if you travel, he's the one preaching. If you go anywhere, we are going with him, but he doesn't pay tithe. It means that you have not actually seen, you have not diagnosed the problem. Because once you are doing everything for your ministry, he is following you as if he loves you. But his money is not in the church. And if his money is not in the church, it means he is not in the church also. That's what it is. That's why sometimes we have assistants who actually rebel against us. If you were to check their habits, you realize that, oh, it's not a surprise. Because he doesn't pay tithe. Tithe is a test of where your heart is. Yeah, I pay tithe. I pay tithe as a pastor. I pay tithe as a bishop. I pay tithe. Every month I pay tithe. In fact, I've told the people who pay me, who give my salary, that because I don't want to be tempted. You know how things work. There are some months where it's not easy to pay tithe. So to not commit myself to any problem, any curse, I say, when you are paying me, take out the tithe before you pay me. So when the money comes into my account, I say, Lord, this one, me and you don't have any problem with this one here. It can finish the next day without me having to think about it. Because if you don't really put some measures in place, it's going to be difficult for you to tithe every month consistently. But we need a tithe. That's what runs the church. The church is not funded by the government. The church is not for the government. As much as some of us may do things to get some support and all of that, you see, the church is God's institution. Jesus is the one who said, I will build my church. Except that we don't want to use the means that Jesus has prescribed to run the church. If I pastor a church of this size, let's say, how many people are here? 100? 150? Whatever. At least 100 people should pay tithe. If 100 people pay tithe, can you imagine how much money will come in every month to be able to do the things we want to do? We can do so much. But churches don't have money because our members don't tithe. So you need to institute the principle of tithing strongly. Every year you must teach about tithe. At least twice. Because, you see, people are such that if you talk about something, they respond to it. You reap what you sow. That's what the Bible says. So if you want to reap tithers, you preach about tithing. If you want to reap church workers, you preach about church working. If you want to reap holiness, a church with holy people, you preach about holiness. You can't preach about prosperity and then expect people to pay tithe. Because most of the time people come to church to be blessed and not to actually give anything to the church. Yeah, they come and look for what the church can do for them, not what they can do for the church. And then it cripples the pastors. Then it makes some of us pastors, you're afraid to come full time because when you check the church's finances, you check what the church can pay you. You have children, they go to a special school. So as you are leaving this, your fantastic job to become a full-time minister, you've heard the voice of God. You're afraid. It's like, how can I leave this and come and depend on these few people here who don't seem to be concerned about me and my life? But it is because this basic principle that God has established in the church, we don't teach it and we don't ensure it is done. If I were you, I will make sure. And this is where, sometimes people don't get it. If I were you in your church, I would tell my finance people, every month, send me a report of those who tithe. Yeah. Remember, the Bible says in 1 Corinthians chapter 1 and verse 24 that Christ is the power of God and also the wisdom of God. Bishop Dag has taught us that the churches that have done well and have been consistent over the years, even after the founders are gone, are the churches who were administratively correct. Because you can do church and it's just preaching, teaching, and there's no paperwork associated with your ministry. There's no computer, there's no spreadsheet. If you go to a proper organization, there are charts, there are statistics, there are assessment, there are analysis. That's what makes companies work. So if your church is going to work, you will have to also use, you see, you were a secular person, you were an accountant, you were a teacher. What are you using the teaching for? Just only to preach? No, you have to tell your finance people, every month I want a finance report on my desk. And it should contain those who pay tithe. And when people are paying tithe, teach them that they should write their name and the amount. Because sometimes people tip God. They don't pay tithe, they just tip God. I've been a pastor for a little while. If, my dear friend, my dear pastor, if you were to go into your church members' tithing behavior, you would discover that the money they call tithe is just a tip. And what happens is that if you don't give the 10%, it is not tithe. And therefore the covenant of I'll rebuke the devourer, I'll rebuke the destroyer, I will open the windows of heaven, it doesn't happen. Because you can't go to God and tell God that the tip is tithe. You think God doesn't know mathematics? He knows mathematics. God knows algebra and all these integration and differentiation and all. He knows all of that. So if you earn 7,000 TT, it is 700. It's simple arithmetic. So if Sister Janet Smith is paying tithe and her salary is 7,000, I expect to see against Sister Janet Smith's name, January 700, February 700, even March I should see 800. Because you will get some side monies also, because God is an expert provider. It shouldn't go down, it must go up. Because let me tell you, all of us here and there, we get tips here and there from somewhere and thereabout. So if you're going to be faithful, your 700 tithe should always go up. It should never come down. There's never a time that you are paid short. You will not even agree with your boss man to pay you short. If we are going to manage the tithing system. So you see, when you see a pastor, like I introduced the book, The Art of Leadership to you last night. If you see a pastor, it's not just waiting on the Lord to have a message to preach you. It is a lot of analysis, a lot of assessment. You have to assess yourself. How can I make the church grow? How can I make the youth service become better? Who is better for the youth service? How can I choose board members or board of trustees? Do I really need them, really? That's a lot of mind work, thinking. Jesus was wise. Ministry, you need wisdom in ministry. Yeah, no, you can't just do things and because before you realize it, year after year, there will not be any improvement. But if you're going to do ministry well, your attendance should rise. The shares of every company, the focus is that it must go up. The profit must go up. Our profit is people. Our profit is attendance. How many people are coming? 10, 15, 20. It should never be low. It must always be high. How much money is coming in? Please. Don't be a pastor who does not respect money in the church. Many pastors are over spiritual, so they treat money like it's nothing. That's why you don't have money in your church. You're afraid to talk about money. That's why you don't have money in your church. Offerings and tithe. Apart from that, me and you, we don't have anything else to discuss. Offering and tithe. As long as you do that, we're good. It is in the Bible. Give, and I shall be given back unto you. Even our offerings. When it comes to money, tithe is making me talk about money. Because many of our pastors, we are afraid to talk about money. Scared. Meanwhile, the church needs money. Your speaker Your speaker doesn't sound well. When you're preaching, you sound like there's some cockroach in the speakers. And then you're wondering, you want to do barbecue or hot dog sale to get money to buy speakers when there are people sitting out in the church who don't pay tithe. Are you become a businessman now? So I will advise you, if you take it, apart from buying the tithe book, the Macarius, make sure that every month, as the CEO of the Traffic Light Chapel International Ministry of God, whatever, Deliverance, Bon Accord branch. Make sure that your finance team presents a spreadsheet of the offering. Do you know that those who count money, sometimes they steal money? No, you pastor? Listen to me. If you are running a business, a shop business, you look more into the finance. You have cameras. Why don't you have camera in a room that people are counting the money? Why don't you have camera there? You feel bad. You're feeling bad. No, don't feel bad. People are not people. Oh. People are not people. People are not people. Yeah. When you are thinking that people are not doing something, that's exactly what they are doing. So, Bishop Dag Heward-Mills, he teaches us to operate with principles and signs. Not work with emotions. Most of us black people will like emotions. Oh, how can you think about that? How can you think about that? Why do people develop cameras? Because you can't trust people these days. So your offering is not improving and increasing, because even at the little that comes in, there's somebody who is pocketing the money. And you see, I can prove this to you by even the way your offering system works. What you use to take offering, it should not be too exposed. Some of us have baskets, the edge is so wide. How do you know that when somebody is putting money? Why do you know that he's not actually taking money from it? You should make a bag that has a small hole. You know how when you are doing savings? You know the hole that you put some? That's how your offering bag should look like. It only goes in, it doesn't come out. Piggy bag. No, I'm saying that if you are doing business, you have a safe. You have alarm. But in the church, you don't have a safe. You don't have an alarm. Why? Because you don't respect God's money. That's what it boils down to. Not that you're a nice pastor who doesn't want to talk about money because the church is not money. You don't respect God's way of you running the church. All of us, I used to work as a lay person. I didn't care when I was taking offering because I know everybody knows I work. It's not a church money I depend on. It was a humble experience for me when I started full-time ministry, when the church had to pay me to talk about offering. Because it works on your mind that, people will say, oh, it's because of you want money. That's why you're talking about money. I had to break out of that. It was very difficult for me, for even church members to come to me with an envelope and say, you know what, Bishop, just want to bless you with this. It's like you live on people's compassion and but that is the way God has established to take care of you. You are not humble to receive it. You are not ready to be a minister. You're not ready to be a minister. Now, I have become so comfortable and bold that by the time you take out the envelope, I'm taking it out of your hand. Yes, because once you take it out, I realize that my God is supplying my needs. So I don't even allow you to say all the statement, the long thing you want to take about. I say, all right. Give it to me. God bless you. Bye-bye. I've learned that that's how God takes care of me. So when it comes, you don't say, so, no, don't worry. I would take it. Now ask you, so when are you bringing another one? Are you sure this is all God asked you to bring to me? So be a bit more professional about your church finance. Monitor your tithe payers. Monitor it and monitor the offering. And make sure that you have a goal that if we receive on a Sunday, let's say we get about 2,000 TT, that you should target that it should go up. That, okay, the first 6 months, let's see if we can raise it from 2,000 to, let's say, about 3,000. And sometimes it comes by provoking people to good works. You have to inspire people to give more than the $1, 1 TT they give. As for 1 TT, people throw it into the offering basket all the time, you know. They don't care. You want offering? 1 TT.